I'm Barb Deshane, investigating officer with WorkSafe BC. A worker at this veneer and lumber plant died when he was crushed by a forklift. This is what happened. Stacks of veneer had built up near the planer, so some of it needed to be moved to the long-term storage yard. Using a loader that had been converted to a forklift, a worker started to move the stacks to the storage yard. It was dark, so he may not have noticed that the frozen ground there sloped both forward and sideways. The forklift was carrying 4 stacks of veneer. The load was 10 feet high and weighed more than 14,000 pounds. This was at least 1,500 pounds more than the forklift's rated capacity. When the worker was nearly ready to unload the 4 stacks, he stopped the machine, put the transmission in neutral, and set the parking brake. With the load still raised, he exited the cab. He then went in front of the raised load, probably to place dunnage on the ground to support the veneer stacks. The forklift moved forward down the slope, crushing the worker between the raised load and the stacks of veneer on the ground. This accident could have been prevented. Do not exceed the rated capacity. Overloading affects the forklift's stability and center of gravity. This forklift was so heavily overloaded that its rear wheels were not making full contact with the ground. Don't rely on just the parking brake. This forklift's parking brake worked properly but could not hold the forklift in place. The 4-wheel drive forklift had a drive shaft disc-type parking brake. This type of parking or emergency brake is found on various types of mobile equipment. Unlike the parking brake on most cars, a drive shaft disc-type brake doesn't act directly on the wheels, but instead stops the drive shaft from rotating. With this type of system, the wheels are not locked. A non-locked differential allows the wheels to rotate in opposite directions, even with the parking brake applied. Normally, when the parking brake is applied, the front and rear wheels counteract each other, so the forklift stays in place. For this to work, all 4 wheels need to be on the ground and have good traction. But here, the grade and excessive load caused the forklift to tilt forward so much that the rear wheels were likely off the ground and had no traction. With the front wheels able to rotate and the back wheels unable to counteract them, the forklift rolled forward, pivoting and sliding down the slope. Lower the forks to the ground before exiting the cab. Lowering the forks helps to ensure that a forklift doesn't move. Stay out of hazard areas, like the crush zone in front of a forklift. If you operate a forklift, keep within its rated capacity, and don't rely on just the parking brake. Lower the forks and keep out of the crush zone. It may save your life.